All right, one moment it is. I'm holding.
We're good.
You're good on this side? Marsha, you good?
Great.
Okay, positive. So, Shirlane and I got to participate in a really moving ceremony opening up the Statue of Liberty Museum. And, you know, being out there and thinking about the fact that Shirlane's grandparents, my grandparents, came to this city, came to this country, went by that statue. And the beauty of this country, the power of this country, that 2 generations later, we stand here as Mayor and First Lady of New York City, and I have the honor of running for President of the United States. That is the American dream. That's what it's always been all about. That's what it needs to be about in the future. So I want to say to all of you, we're starting out on this together. I'll be seeing a lot of you I know. We're off to Iowa and then South Carolina. And I expect to see a lot of friendly faces along the way, so there'll be plenty of time for a lot of interaction, a lot of questions along the way, but we can certainly take some now. Dave. Correct. I don't know what you're talking about, Dave.
You said it was music years, but some of the response today, and I think we expect the president to do an answer this week.
Yes.
Some of the other responses and things, it almost seems mean-spirited.
Look, first of all, as to the president, I'm going to keep calling him Con Don because that's what he deserves to be called. He's a con man, and we New Yorkers know a con man when we see one, and I know how to challenge this guy. I've been watching him his whole born life, his whole adult life, and I've seen all of his tricks, and we're going to go right at him. The mean-spiritedness you refer to is something we need to get out of our, political culture. We need to get more unified. But that's only going to happen in truth if we confront Donald Trump, because he's been the wellspring of so much of it. But just to finish the point, Dave, I really do believe that point about it's not where you start, it's where you finish. I have been in so many elections where the first polls had me way, way back. I've won 10 elections in a row. I haven't lost an election. I think that people, over the course of a campaign, to get to know who you are. They don't know in the beginning, but they get to know who you are in the course of a campaign. And I think for people who hear what this campaign is about, that it's about putting working people first, I think that's going to move a lot of people.
Does the First Lady get angry? Does this hurt you a little bit?
Could you say that? Could you repeat the question?
Does this hurt? Does it bother you, the fact
No. This is New York City. We kind of get immune to all of this stuff. Every New Yorker has an opinion. Bill and I know why we're doing this work, and we're very clear, very focused. We wake up in the morning. For me, it's mental health. I'm going to do the best job I can to help people. Same with Bill. Working families, working people. How do we lift people up? How do we make sure people have, affordable housing and pre-K and guaranteed health care? You can't be distracted. Otherwise, you get off course.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
There's the mean-spiritedness, but there's also genuine concern from other elected officials and people that you can't complete your role as mayor while running for president. You still need to pass a budget. What do you say to people?
I've spoken to it. So I appreciate the concern. I think there is honest concern, and I like to speak to it honestly. And this question's come up from some of you previously, and I've been really clear. I've thought about this for a long time. This is the 6th year of this administration. We are the safest big city in America. We have the most jobs we've ever had. We have the highest graduation rate we've ever had in our public schools. Our agenda is moving forward very aggressively. We have a very strong team. I have total confidence in my team. And I am going to be on top of each situation here all the time, as I always am. And I've traveled before and been on the phone here to make sure everything is moving properly, and I'll continue to do that. So I'm confident that we can make it work.
Mayor, you're from a deep blue city. You talked a lot about the progressive policies you've made possible here in the city. But how are you going to appeal to non-progressives? How are you going to appeal to moderates, centrists, independents, and swing voters in swing states?
That's a great question. I think the key thing is that working people want to see change in this country. And I honestly believe that cuts across the regional realities, ethnic realities, even people's political identification. One thing that truly unifies people is they want fairness. And a lot of Americans believe this is not a fair country right now. A lot of Americans believe, and they're right, that working people are falling behind, not moving forward. The next generation is going to have a tougher time than the previous generation. I referred to that American dream of what our grandparents hoped for, and it came true. For so many Americans, it's hard to believe in that dream right now. We have to restore it. So I believe what will be my ability to reach across all different identities and all different regions is we've done these things. You know what people want to hear? They don't want to hear just words. They want to see deeds. They want to see it's real. When I tell people, I've been to the 4 early states, when I tell people we're doing pre-K for all, for everybody, regardless of color, creed, income, we're doing it for everybody. It's very moving to people to think that that's the kind of society that we could have, that we have paid sick leave for hardworking people so they don't need to miss a day's pay because they're sick or their child is sick. These things are unifying. So I'm going to talk about real accomplishments, real deeds, and I think that's going to move a lot of people.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do you ever plan to be away from the city for more than 9 days?
No.
Okay. Because if you were...
I'm quite clear.
Public Advocate Williams...
I do know that rule, I assure you.
But Public Advocate Williams, who would take over, said this morning on Fox 5 that your tenure is a net negative, and that you need to fix some things in New York City first before running...
Again, it is the nature of the public advocate to be critical. I know I was public advocate myself. I remind everybody of basic facts. Safest big city in America, and we just saw a great report. Shootings going down even further, and I want to thank the NYPD for their extraordinary achievements. More jobs than we've ever had, highest graduation rates we've ever had. These things are moving, and we're doing things that no city in this country has ever done. Guaranteed health care, making mental health services accessible, what we're doing with the Green New Deal. Literally, this is the first large city on earth to put those strong mandates on landlords to stop emissions, to help protect our future, our planet. There's a lot to talk about, and we're going to keep doing more and more and more.
What do you say to New Yorkers? Forget about the elected official who's running the city you've talked about. The New Yorkers we run into, they say they like you personally, they like your policies, but they want that.
They are going to see...
What's the balance in terms of how often they'll see you here and how often you'll be out?
Andrew, they'll see me here for sure, and they're going to see the work that I'm doing and my team is doing in their lives, and that's what really matters most. When people know that their streets are safer, where their kids are getting a better education, there's more opportunity, they're going to feel that they have... Look, Shirley and I know people come up to us all the time and talk about what the Thrive programs meant for them and their family, what pre-K has meant for them and their family. I met the people who got into affordable housing or had their apartment preserved. All of that is going to intensify. We're going for 3K for all now. I'm very focused on getting that done. We're going to be doing more and more all the time. And look, I'm a CEO. I am the chief executive of the biggest city in the country. I have a kind of experience that very few people in this race happen to have. And when you're a CEO of something really big, you have to make a lot of decisions wherever you are. You have to be smart about how to move an agenda forward. You have to have good people in place to make sure things are being implemented. That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to keep doing. Marcia.
Historically, mayors who have run for other office, being president,
Well, I intend to break the mold, and I intend to make history, and I intend to win. The truth is, Marcia, you're a student of this history. It's actually only a couple of people who ever tried to seek higher office, and I think each of them had their own challenges. But the truth is that we're in an entirely different time. What we used to think of as the ground rules of the democratic process don't exist anymore. And we've seen in the last few years that people all over this country are looking for change. They don't always look for it in a traditional way or in a traditional package. And Charlene and I represent change. People are going to understand that. They're going to see what happened here and know it means something, and it can mean something in their lives. So I think that history of what other mayors did is kind of ancient history. I don't think it tells us much.
what's the secret plan?
My secret plan. I'm so glad you asked. I have it right here.
What's the secret plan for breaking through? Why you and not the other 23 people?
There are some really good people in this race. But what I bring is absolute total focus on putting working people first. I've done it here. These are not words, these are deeds. When you look at the things that we have done to ensure that working people had opportunity, that not just the wealthy benefited, but everyday people got money back in their pockets. That's what paid sick leave is, that's what pre-K is, and after school is, that's what guaranteed health care is. These are realities that just change people's lives. And other candidates each will talk about what they've done, but this, I think, this vision that we've put in place here in New York is the kind of thing that people want to see in their own lives. And again, I'm not going to tell people this is a bunch of words or policy paper. I'm going to say it happened right here. We made it happen. Yeah.
What do you make of the front-running Vice President Biden? How do you specifically stack up against Mr.
I'm not going to do comparisons with candidates at this point. I mean, there'll be plenty of time to discuss that along the way. I respect the other candidates, but I think I bring something different.
You made the announcement today. So when did you actually make the decision? When was that moment? Why? Where?
Well, Charlene and I, we had our 25th wedding anniversary on Tuesday, and we went to the River Cafe, which I strongly recommend to anyone looking for a romantic night out. And, that was a moment where we were in the final decision. And, we have been talking for weeks and weeks. Everyone knows it. We've been very open about it. But, that was a moment, a peaceful moment. I'm not saying there was like one exact crossing the Rubicon moment, but I really appreciated that evening because we had time to just be together in a quiet corner of that restaurant and look each other in the eye and make sure we were at peace and ready to go. And we've made that kind of decision before. Deciding to run for mayor of this great city was a big decision. We know when it feels right for us.
Blasio.
Is your use of the nickname Condon, and is that a signal to us? Should we expect the months
Oh, absolutely. The fact is, Donald Trump has a con man's mentality. And any good New Yorker who's watched a game of three-card Monte or any other example of the way some in this city try and get over on others, we're pretty streetwise people in this city. We know a con man when we see one. We know his tricks. And I feel strongly he just has to be confronted. And he likes to give his little nicknames. I'll give him one back. Con Don. It says everything you need to know about him. Because he told working people he was going to be on their side, but in fact, he has been on the side of the wealthy and the corporations. He gave them the biggest tax break in a generation. It's quite clear where his bread is buttered. So I'm going to be very aggressive with this guy because that's the only way to deal with him. Last one.
beat him before in your video this morning?
Sure, I'll answer this and then you. Yes, when you'll remember early on that President Trump threatened New York City. He tried to make us cower before his threats. He said, I'm going to take away your money for the NYPD. I'm going to take away your money for security unless you change your policies and treat immigrants disrespectfully and start asking them documentation status. And what we all said, I stood there with the police commissioner, corporation counsel, we said there's no way we are changing who we are in New York City. We are not going to treat our immigrant fellow New Yorkers disrespectfully. We are not going to break away from the things that have kept us safe as a city and united. And we stared him down, and I said that day, no, we're not changing. You can threaten us all you want. We are taking you to court. We did take him to court, and we beat him in court. Last one.
You're the last one to enter the race. You're entering pretty late. How important is it for you to qualify in the debates? And do you think you can catch up and make up for lost time? And then going off to Siv's question as well, I don't think we got a clear answer on how often are you committed to staying in New York City half the week?
Again, there's not a specific, it'll depend on the week, obviously, but I'm going to be here a lot. I'm going to be constantly in touch. Things are going to happen. You're going to see it with your own eyes. On the question of the debates, look, it's not certain yet, that's for sure. There's a lot of people vying to be in those debates. I think, of course, it's a helpful place to be, but it's one of many, many factors in what is part of this campaign and all the ways that people get to know candidates. Today, we have a third poll, a Reuters poll, in which I reached the qualifying level. We're waiting to confirm with the DNC, but I believe we sort of reached the first plateau now of 3 polls that had us at that basic level. But it's going to play out now for more weeks until they make their final decisions of who's made the cut. The bottom line, I learned this a long time ago, debates matter, you know, all sorts of things matter. Going out to the people is what matters most. In 2013, a lot of you watched, and it wasn't so obvious, and Charlene and I saw this firsthand. You couldn't tell that things were changing in the course of that race. We could tell talking to people, but it wasn't so easy to see if you were looking at what seemed to be the big indicators. In fact, what always happens in campaigns is people start to come to their own judgment. If you go out and you spend time with the people, that's what matters. We've done that with our fellow New Yorkers for years and years. We're going to keep doing that, and we're also going to be doing that the next few days in Iowa and in South Carolina. Thank you, everybody.
Vision Zero questions.
We'll get you soon.
How are you